I, 28 farads, am currently facing the biggest dilemma of my life, and I desperately need some outside perspective. I'm a graduate student, aspiring to become a researcher, but a few months ago, I was diagnosed with autism spectrum disorder, ASD. My younger brother, 18M, received the same diagnosis. Our immediate family has been supportive and is trying to understand and adapt to our needs. Recently, my fiance's 30M sister, 33 farads, sent us an invitation to her wedding. We were excited to attend and celebrate with the family. However, yesterday, I received a call from her that left me speechless and heartbroken. She informed me that she had decided to uninvite me and my brother from the wedding. Her reason: she's worried that our ASD might ruin the atmosphere of her special day. She expressed concerns about us potentially exhibiting weird behavior that could distract from the ceremony or make other guests uncomfortable. I tried to explain to her that ASD is a part of who we are, and that we're not going to suddenly start acting dramatically different just because we're at a wedding. I assured her that we're both capable of understanding social situations and behaving appropriately, but she wouldn't listen. She kept insisting that it's her day and she doesn't want to take any risks. My fiance is furious and fully supports me. He says if we're not welcome, he won't attend either. But his parents are siding with his sister. They've told us that if we can't act normal, we shouldn't come to the wedding. It feels like they're saying we don't deserve to be part of family events unless we can hide who we are. I'm hurt, angry, and honestly, a bit scared. This isn't just about a wedding anymore. It feels like our very existence is being rejected. My fiance wants to boycott the wedding entirely, but I'm not sure if that's the right move. I don't want to cause a permanent rift in his family, but at the same time, I don't think I can pretend this didn't happen. Some additional context. 1. My ASD diagnosis is relatively recent, but I've always been the same person. I've attended numerous family events before without any issues. The only thing that's changed is that now there's a label for my neurological differences. 2. My brother and I are both high-functioning. We don't have any behaviors that would be disruptive in a wedding setting. We're quiet, respectful, and capable of following social norms. Our ASD mainly affects how we process information and interact socially, but it's not something that would be obvious or problematic at an event like this. 3. My fiance's sister has known us for years. She's been to family gatherings with us many times and has never complained about our behavior before. This sudden change in attitude seems to be purely based on the ASD label. 4. We've always had a cordial relationship with my fiance's family, but we've never been super close. There's been some tension in the past because I'm more introverted and don't always participate in family events as much as they'd like. But it's never been a major issue until now. 5. My fiance and I have been together for 5 years, engaged for 1. We've been planning our own wedding, which is scheduled for next year. Now I'm worried about how his family will behave at our wedding if this is how they feel about us. I'm torn about what to do. Part of me wants to respect my future sister-in-law's wishes and just not go to the wedding. Another part of me feels like this is discrimination, and we shouldn't tolerate it. And yet another part wonders if I'm overreacting and should just try to smooth things over for the sake of family harmony. Some questions I'm grappling with. 1. Are we wrong for feeling hurt and angry about this? 2. Should we skip the wedding to avoid drama or attend to stand up for ourselves? 3. If we do attend, how should we handle potential awkwardness or hostility from family members? 4. How do we address this issue with my fiance's family in a way that doesn't permanently damage relationships? 5. Should my fiance attend without us, or is he right to boycott in solidarity? 6. How do we explain this situation to my brother, who's younger and more sensitive about his diagnosis. I feel like I'm stuck between standing up for myself and keeping the peace. I don't want to be the cause of family drama, but I also don't want to teach my brother that it's okay for people to exclude us because of our ASD. My fiancé says that if his family can't accept us as we are, then they don't deserve to be part of our lives. But I'm worried about the long-term consequences of taking such a hard stance. What if we have children in the future? I don't want them to grow up without knowing their aunts, uncles, and grandparents. At the same time, I'm angry that we're being treated this way. We didn't choose to have ASD, and it doesn't make us any less worthy of love and inclusion. It feels like my future sister-in-law and in-laws are viewing us as a problem to be managed rather than family members to be embraced. I'm also concerned about the message this sends to my brother. He's still coming to terms with his diagnosis, and I worry that this rejection will make him feel ashamed or like he needs to hide who he is. I want him to grow up confident and proud of himself, not feeling like he has to mask his true self to be accepted. The whole situation has me questioning a lot of things. Are there other family members who feel the same way but haven't said anything? Will we always be seen as different or difficult by my fiance's family? How will this affect our future interactions and events? I've considered reaching out to my future sister-in-law directly to have a heart-to-heart conversation. Maybe if I explain more about ASD and how it affects us, she'll understand that we're not a threat to her wedding. But I'm afraid of being rejected or misunderstood again. My fiancé suggested we could offer a compromise, like leaving early if we feel overwhelmed or sitting in a quieter area during the reception. But part of me feels like we shouldn't have to make special arrangements just to be included in a family event. I'm also worried about how this will affect my relationship with my fiancé. He's being wonderfully supportive now, but what if this causes long-term issues with his family? I don't want him to feel torn between me and them. Reddit, I'm at a loss. How do we navigate this situation without losing our self-respect or destroying family relationships? Are we overreacting, or is this a hill worth dying on? How do we stand up for ourselves and educate others about ASD without coming across as confrontational or difficult? Any advice, similar experiences, or perspectives would be greatly appreciated. I feel like I'm drowning in a sea of conflicting emotions, and I don't know which way to turn. I feel I should provide some more context about our family dynamics. My fiancé and I have been together for 5 years, and throughout this time, there's always been a subtle tension with his family. They're very traditional and have specific ideas about how a family should function. I've always been more introverted and independent, which I now understand is partly due to my ASD, but they've interpreted it as me being cold or uninterested in family bonding. There have been numerous small incidents over the years where I've felt misunderstood or judged. For instance, at family gatherings, I often need to take short breaks to manage sensory overload. My future in-laws have made comments about me being antisocial or rude for stepping away. My fiancé has always defended me, but it's created a constant undercurrent of tension. The ASD diagnosis actually came as a relief to both of us. It explained so many of the challenges we'd faced and gave us a framework for understanding my needs. We were hopeful that sharing this information with his family would lead to greater understanding and acceptance. Instead, it seems to have given them a label to pin their disapproval on. I'm also worried about how this situation is affecting my younger sister, 15 feuds. She's been incredibly supportive, but I can see that she's struggling to understand why our family is being treated this way. I don't want her to grow up thinking that it's okay for people to discriminate against others because of neurodiversity. As for my brother, his ASD manifests differently than mine. He's more overtly different in social situations, which has made him a target for bullying in the past. This wedding exclusion has brought up a lot of those old traumas for him. He's been having nightmares and anxiety attacks, and I feel responsible for not being able to protect him from this pain. My fiancé and I have been seeing a couples therapist who specializes in neurodiversity. She's been helping us navigate these family issues and strengthen our communication. One thing she pointed out is that this conflict isn't really about the wedding. It's about fundamental differences in values and understanding of neurodiversity. We've also been grappling with the impact this might have on our future. We've talked about having children, and now we're faced with the reality that any kids we have might be autistic too. How do we protect them from the kind of rejection we're experiencing now? How do we ensure they grow up feeling valued and accepted? Through all of this, my fiancé has been my rock. His unwavering support and love have kept me going on the darkest days. But I worry about the toll this is taking on him. He's losing his family over this, and I can't help but feel guilty. Am I worth all this pain and conflict? I know that's not the right way to think. I deserve to be accepted for who I am, and so does my brother. But it's hard not to internalize some of the negative messages we've been receiving. As our own wedding approaches, I find myself obsessing over every detail, trying to create an event that will be comfortable and enjoyable for neurodivergent guests. It feels like a statement, a demonstration of what an inclusive celebration can look like. But I'm also terrified that something will go wrong and prove my future in-laws right about us being too autistic for normal social events. Update 1. It's been a week since the wedding, and a lot has happened. I want to thank everyone for their advice and support on my last post. It really helped me navigate this difficult situation. Based on the advice I received, my fiancé, 30M, and I decided not to attend the wedding. It was a hard decision, but we felt it was the best way to respect ourselves and avoid potential conflict. My brother, 18M, was relieved when we told him we weren't going. He had been anxious about the whole situation. On the day of the wedding, we stayed home and had a small family day with my brother and sister. We tried to keep our minds off the wedding, but it was hard not to think about what was happening there. What we didn't expect was the wave of support we received from other family members. Apparently, word had gotten out about why we weren't attending, and many relatives were not happy with my future sister-in-law's, 33 feuds, decision. My fiancé's cousin, 29 feuds, called us during the reception. She told us that several family members had confronted the bride about her decision to exclude us. Some even left the wedding early in solidarity with us. I was touched by their support, but also felt guilty about ruining the wedding day. Another surprise came when my fiancé's aunt, 55 feuds, reached out to us. She has an adult son with autism and was particularly upset by her niece's actions. She told us that she had a long talk with my future in-laws about autism and the importance of family acceptance. It didn't change their minds immediately, but it seemed to make them think. Perhaps the biggest shock came the day after the wedding. My new brother-in-law, 35M. The groom called us. He apologized profusely for what had happened. He told us that he hadn't known about his wife's decision to uninvite us until the day before the wedding, and by then he felt it was too late to change things without causing a huge scene. He explained that he had spent the day after the wedding arguing with his new wife about her actions. He said he was embarrassed and ashamed of how we had been treated. He asked if we would be willing to meet with him to talk things over. We're still processing this offer. On one hand, I appreciate his apology and willingness to reach out. On the other hand, I'm hurt that he didn't stand up for us before the wedding. My fiancé is skeptical and worried this might be an attempt to smooth things over without addressing the real issues. The past week has been emotionally exhausting. My fiancé's parents are still not speaking to us. They seem to be doubling down on their support of their daughter's decision. My future sister-in-law hasn't reached out at all. My fiance is furious with his family. He's talking about cutting ties completely. I'm trying to be the voice of reason, suggesting we give it some time before making such a drastic decision. But it's hard when I see how much this has hurt him. My brother is struggling with the situation too. He keeps asking if there's something wrong with us, if we're too autistic for normal life. It breaks my heart to see him questioning his worth because of other people's ignorance. We're still figuring out our next steps. Here are some things we're considering. Meeting with my new brother-in-law to hear him out. If we do this, should we insist that his wife be there too? Reaching out to the family members who supported us to thank them and maybe build stronger relationships. Finding a family therapist who specializes in autism to help us navigate these issues. Writing a letter to my future in-laws, explaining our feelings and the impacts of their actions. Focusing on planning our own wedding and making sure it's a truly inclusive event. I'm still hurt and angry, but I'm also trying to see this as an opportunity for education and growth. Maybe this can be a turning point in how our family understands and accepts neurodiversity. Some questions I'm still struggling with. 1. How do we move forward with family relationships without compromising our self-respect? 2. Should we give my future sister-in-law a chance to apologize, or wait for her to make the first move? 3. How do we help my brother regain his confidence after this rejection? 4. Are we right to consider meeting with the groom, or is it too soon? 5. How do we handle future family events? Should we attend and risk awkwardness, or stay away? Thank you all again for your support. This community has been a real lifeline during this difficult time. I'll keep you updated as things develop. Update 2. It's been 3 weeks since my last update, and the situation has taken some unexpected turns. I appreciate all the support and advice from my previous posts. Your insights have been invaluable during this challenging time. The most surprising development has been the outpouring of support from extended family members. After my last update, several of my fiance's 30M relatives reached out to us. They expressed their disappointment in how we were treated and offered their unconditional support. My fiance's uncle, 58M, even organized a family meeting to discuss the importance of inclusivity and understanding neurodiversity. This meeting was eye-opening for many family members. Several of them admitted they didn't fully understand autism before, but now they're eager to learn more. It's heartening to see people making an effort to educate themselves. My brother was particularly moved by this show of support. It's helping him regain some of the confidence he lost after the wedding incident. However, not everyone has been so understanding. My fiance's parents are still defending their daughter's actions, but their stance has led to some unexpected revelations. During a heated argument with my fiance's cousin, 29 feuds, his mother let slip that they had been spreading misinformation about us to other family members. Apparently, they've been telling people that I was trying to sabotage the wedding out of jealousy. They claimed I was upset about my future sister-in-law having a grander wedding than mine and my fiance's will be. This is completely untrue and frankly hurtful. We've never cared about having an extravagant wedding, and I've certainly never expressed any jealousy towards my SIL. When confronted about this, my future in-laws doubled down. They accused me of manipulating my fiance and trying to drive a wedge between him and his family. It's clear now that the issue goes beyond just the wedding. There's a deep-seated resentment towards me that I wasn't fully aware of before. This revelation has caused a significant rift in the family. Many relatives who initially believed my in-laws are now angry about being misled. The family is essentially split into 2 camps: those who support us and understand autism, and those who side with my SIL and in-laws. Seeing this divide, my fiance and I decided it was time to share our side of the story publicly. We made a post on social media explaining the situation, our struggles with autism, and the importance of acceptance and understanding. We were careful not to name names or attack anyone, focusing instead on education and our personal experiences. The response to our post has been overwhelming. We've received hundreds of supportive messages, not just from family and friends, but from strangers who have had similar experiences. Many people have shared their own stories of dealing with autism in their families, and it's been incredibly validating to see we're not alone in this struggle. However, the post has also intensified the family conflict. My SIL and in-laws are furious that we've aired family business publicly. They've accused us of seeking attention and playing the victim. Some family members have even suggested that we're exaggerating our autism for sympathy. These accusations hurt, but we stand by our decision to speak out. We believe that silence only perpetuates misunderstanding and discrimination. By sharing our story, we hope to challenge the stigma surrounding autism and encourage more open conversations about neurodiversity. My fiance is struggling with the fallout. While he's proud of us for standing up for ourselves, he's devastated by his parents' reaction. They've essentially given him an ultimatum. Choose between them and me. He's been clear that he chooses me, but I can see how much this is tearing him apart. As for my brother, he's processing all of this in his own way. The support from some family members has boosted his confidence, but the negative reactions have also reinforced his fears about being accepted. We're looking into support groups for young adults with autism to help him navigate these complex emotions. Moving forward, we're faced with some difficult decisions. 1. How do we handle future family events? Some relatives have suggested separate gatherings to avoid conflict, but that feels like it's just deepening the divide. 2. Should we pursue a relationship with my brother-in-law? He's reached out again, expressing his desire to mediate between us and his wife, but we're unsure if this will help or just create more drama. 3. How do we protect our mental health while still standing our ground? The constant conflict is draining, but we also don't want to back down from our principles. 4. What do we do about our own wedding? We still want to have an inclusive celebration, but now we're worried about potential drama if we invite everyone. 5. How can we continue to educate people about autism without feeling like we're constantly defending our existence? Despite all the challenges, there have been some positive outcomes. This experience has brought my fiance and me closer together. It's also helped us identify who our true supporters are. And most importantly, it's opened up a broader conversation about autism and acceptance in our community. We're taking things one day at a time, focusing on supporting each other and my brother. We're also considering family therapy to help us navigate these complex relationships. Thank you all again for your support and advice. It means more than you know. I'll update again if there are any significant developments. Update 3. It's been about 2 weeks since my last update, and I want to thank everyone for their continued support and advice. Your words have been a source of strength during this challenging time. A lot has happened, so I'll try to break it down as clearly as possible. First, I've had a significant breakthrough with my own mother. As some of you might remember, she initially sided with my future in-laws, suggesting that I should have tried harder to fit in with my fiance's family. Well, after seeing the fallout from the wedding situation and the overwhelming support we received from others, she's had a change of heart. We had a long, emotional conversation where she admitted that her initial reaction came from her own insecurities and outdated beliefs about neurodiversity. She confessed that she had always tried to fix me and my brother, 18M, thinking our autistic traits were something to be overcome rather than accepted. Hearing her acknowledge this was both painful and liberating. My mother has committed to educating herself about autism and has even joined a support group for parents of autistic adults. It's a small step, but it means the world to me. We're working on rebuilding our relationship, and for the first time in a long while, I feel like she's really seeing and accepting me for who I am. On the flip side, the situation with my fiance's family has deteriorated further. Despite our attempts to open a dialogue, my future sister-in-law and in-laws have doubled down on their stance. They've gone as far as to block us on all social media platforms and have told other family members that we're dead to them. My fiance is devastated but resolute. He's made the difficult decision to cut ties with his parents and sister for the foreseeable future. It wasn't an easy choice, but after weeks of hostile messages and manipulative behavior, he feels it's necessary for our mental health and the stability of our relationship. This decision has had a ripple effect through the extended family. Many relatives have reached out to express their support for us, but others have criticized us for tearing the family apart. It's been a stark reminder of how divisive issues around neurodiversity can be, even among people who claim to care about you. In light of all this stress and conflict, my fiance and I have decided to take a step back and focus on our immediate family unit. We're planning a small family trip with my brother and sister to a quiet beach town next month. The idea is to get away from all the drama and spend some quality time together, reconnecting and healing. This trip is especially important for my brother. The events of the past few months have taken a toll on him, and we want to show him that he's loved and valued exactly as he is. We're planning some autism-friendly activities and have chosen accommodations that will cater to our sensory needs. As for our own wedding plans, we've decided to postpone the big ceremony we originally envisioned. Instead, we're considering a small, intimate gathering with only our closest friends and supportive family members. It's not what we initially wanted, but we feel it's the best way to ensure our day is filled with love and acceptance rather than tension and conflict. Looking to the future, we're focusing on building a strong support network outside of traditional family structures. We've connected with local autism advocacy groups and have started attending meetups for neurodiverse couples. It's been incredibly affirming to meet others who understand our experiences without judgment. We're also committed to continuing our advocacy work. The response to our social media post about autism acceptance was overwhelming, and we've been invited to speak at a local school about neurodiversity. It's a small step, but we hope that by sharing our story, we can help create a more inclusive and understanding community. My brother has shown interest in joining us in this advocacy work. He started a blog about his experiences as a young adult with autism, and the response has been incredibly positive. Seeing him find his voice and connect with others has been one of the few bright spots in this otherwise difficult time. As for my relationship with my fiance, I'm happy to say we're stronger than ever. This experience, while painful, has solidified our commitment to each other and our shared values. We're in couples therapy to ensure we're processing everything in a healthy way and to build strategies for dealing with family issues in the future. There are still challenges ahead. We're navigating the complex emotions that come with estrangement from family members. We're learning to set boundaries and prioritize our mental health. And we're continually working on accepting ourselves in a world that often misunderstands neurodiversity. But despite these challenges, I'm cautiously optimistic about the future. We've learned who our true supporters are. We've strengthened our relationships with those who matter most, and we've found a sense of purpose in advocating for autism acceptance. To those who are going through similar struggles, I want to say, you're not alone. Your neurodiversity is not a flaw to be fixed or hidden. You deserve love, acceptance, and respect, just as you are. Thank you all again for your support throughout this journey. Your kindness and understanding have been a lifeline during the darkest moments. I may not update again for a while, as we focus on healing and moving forward, but know that your words have made a real difference in our lives.